We're now 50% above the low that we set a few months ago, and this is a really important time for the market. A lot of people are wondering if we're in a bull trap, which means that, at some point here or higher, that we're going to fall lower, or if this is a real rally and, we might end up finding support off levels like this and then continuing to rise up. And that's exactly what we're going to be discussing in this YouTube video. The thing is about things like this is there's no real definitive way to tell. There's a few signs that I think can really help us kind of point ourselves in the right direction, and that's what I'm going to be covering with you today. But ultimately, you only really know the answer to stuff like this after it happens. Let's go over the facts, though, and I think that we can get a really good picture of it. In short, I want to spoil this for you. I think this is a trap. This could definitely turn into something real, and I'm going to give you examples where we saw things that started off looking like a trap turn into a real rally. So it's definitely happened before. It will probably happen again. But at the same time, I think a few things that we need to take into consideration, like the long-term trend, will show us that, this is, it's almost like a bunch of sheep are just being led into that little slaughter room or whatever. Sentiment's doing pretty well, though. So 53, I think, is a good representation right now. We're kind of flatlining up here. It's quite high, but you know what? I like the fact that we're not continuing to gain. So that's definitely a good sign. So there's a lot to go. My ads have been ridiculous lately. I don't know where this is coming from. We saw lingerie ads the other day, and I was not searching for lingerie. It's just coming up somehow. I think it's because I'm using VPNs. And here's the thing. So Bitcoin ended up getting this really, really quick move up, and that in itself is not representative of something that's going to last, right? When we get really quick moves up of kind of levels like this that just kind of seemingly come out of nowhere, it could certainly rally up way higher, way higher, but you generally want to see something that starts off a little bit healthier. What I do like is that we got this really crazy, kind of initiation of this rally right here after having a very dead period. That's a good sign. That's kind of going in Bitcoin's favor, and I think that's certainly something to keep in mind. One of the things that you would see if you're going to have a very short-lived kind of rally is very quick corrections like this, and then that eventually kind of gives. If we're first consolidating and really giving the market a chance to give the smart people a chance to accumulate, give the people that are a little bit too scared a chance to sell off, then anything we get afterwards, I think we can say is more legitimate price action. So I really like the look of that. Also, rallying up by 50%, we are still fitting the profile of something that could turn out to be a trap. If we take a look at what we had with 2019, we basically had a much bigger version of what we're in right now so far, but something very similar nonetheless, which was that, we ended up seeing a rally from this low right here up to the $14,000 high right here. And, you could certainly say that this was a bull trap, although it would be a weird argument to make because it lasted about 6 months. But I think that a lot of people would still make that argument. And I think that's also fair because the market did end up tumbling really, really low after that happened. And it was a similar circumstance. I'm actually likening it to what we had back in 2018, 2019, because what we're looking at now is, it's the same kind of, dead range, lasted a long time. To get that breakout lasted 130 days. If we fast forward to where we are right now, it's similar time frames, guys. Within this dead range, we were down for 60 days, and before this, we were down for 140 days. So, you put that together, we've got, basically 200 days of shitty trading, and then, a big blast off to the upside. We had a little bit of consolidation, and then again, we blasted off again. It just ranked us way higher, but of course it eventually failed. And the thing is that it only failed after the price basically tripled. This is actually a really important point that I want to highlight to you guys that I also saw going around on Twitter from Don Alt's profile, is that, guys, a lot of people are going to be questioning, is this real? Is this a trap? And so on and so forth. And I think, it's important to ask those questions, but we're traders at the end of the day. And so whether it's a trap or real price action, that's going to stick, we can still make money off it. And if it's going to turn out to be a really big rally, we can make life-changing money off it as well. This is something that I've been saying for a long time, is that it doesn't matter if the price goes up or down. If you're in a position where you're capable to trade it, where you've studied the markets and you know what you're doing, you can make really good money off these moves, whether they stick or not. I want to remind you guys that I'm using Bybit to do that. And if you sign up using my link in the description, head over to the rewards hub, you're going to be able to get up to $30,000 in trading bonuses, meaning that's basically like demo money, which you can throw into the market, and any profits you make using that basically demo money that you get, you can keep. You can withdraw those profits, and any losses, it doesn't matter, because that they're giving you free money. So you're not losing your own cash, which is really, really cool. So well worth checking out. They're advertising 5K here, but you will get up to 30K, and I confirmed that on the phone with them as well. So that's well worth checking out as well in this trading range, because there's a lot of opportunities that are brewing right here, and to be able to trade them risk-free but still take that money home is a ridiculously lucrative opportunity. I think we're entering something dangerous here, because we're going to be seeing a lot of late longs piling into the market at this kind of stage. Now, right now, if we take a look at the long and short ratio, we've still got retail majority short. Actually, it's only the top traders and Bybit just in general that is majority long, but we've got majority shorts from retails, which are generally going to be the losers in the market. So I think there's definitely still some upside to go for the market according to that. It's a really, really reliable sign where generally, if the retail traders are leaning one way or another, we're going to go in the opposite direction. But at the same time, with all of this excitement piling in, oftentimes what will happen is we're not going to pull retracements down to where we want to be until eventually, we have a very, very irrational rally. People, pile in longs, perhaps above resistance levels, and that's where the long and short ratio starts to even out, or instead kind of flip, where we see more longs than shorts, especially for retail traders, and then we get a very, very sharp pullback. And I think that's also something which is worth talking about here, because now that we've risen up by so much within such a short period of time, I mean, if we calculate this with time, it's been 22 days for us to rise by 40%, but actually most of this rise, 34% of this rise, happened within less than 10 days. When we look at such a quick rally like this, we are setting ourselves up for big pullbacks. We definitely are. And if we get a big pullback, does that mean that this was all a trap? Not necessarily, right? Because again, it's about, will we find support? And when we're looking at if we'll find support, we have to consider, I mean, how is the, how much liquidity has been in this market during the run up? This is something that I think is really important. Where's the support as well? We'll talk about liquidity first, because I think this is even more important. On this rally up right here, if we take a look at volume, we're doing okay. We're not doing amazing. We're not doing horrible. But if you look at where the volume is right here, let me actually just make this a little bit easier for you to see. Let me just make it a bit darker. A bit more like visible. You can see right here that we had some really nice volume spikes while we were rising up. Even the volume moving average right here, this orange line showing us the average of the volume, rising really nicely with price, which was absolutely incredible. And then as the price started to consolidate, as the price started to kind of level out, we saw the volume really dip down. So again, that's a really good sign, right? Because it's showing us that volume is piling into the market while we're moving in the direction that we want to see. But when the market kind of stops trending, when the market almost, dare I say, misbehaves, the volume starts to pull back a little bit, showing us that, again, we've got some of the right signs here. And then we reinitiate that rally up right after this red line. And you can see, again, what's going on with the volume. We're starting to pick up with our volume a little bit. So we're showing the right signs, right? Sort of. If we zoom out and we take a look at where our volume has peaked, it's not that impressive. I mean, for the rally that we've pulled, which, I want to remind you guys, has put us above our FTX high and the high before that. I mean, we are really, really, just kind of breaking these highs that we've been setting with our market structure over the last few months. I mean, it's very, very significant. We don't actually have volume that I think is backing that up particularly well. And that's one of the things that I think is concerning. The last time that I very famously spoke about this with you guys on this YouTube channel, those of you that are subscribed are going to remember this very well. Actually, I speak about this all the time, but the last time I did it very, very vocally was up here. And it was because I was comparing the price action that we saw over here with, really, really nice rallies up, backed by really, really nice volume, and then drawing the contrast between what happened here with the volume down here. I don't need to say very much, guys. It's pretty clear to see that the volume on this occasion here was not backing up the price action that we were seeing. We had a ridiculously strong rally. Again, I mean, to put this in perspective, within 2.5 weeks, the price managed to rise up by 61%, which is more than what we've seen so far. Yet the volume was dead. The volume was absolutely dead. And what that means with a market situation like this is we're basically just kind of not having any sellers in the market. We're just not really seeing any sellers in the market, and we're seeing some buyers, but not very many. And as long as you don't have any sellers and just a really small number of buyers, the price will still shoot up very high. And I think that makes sense because the market has had a really long time to bleed out, right? I mean, from its high to its low, it's 378 days, minus 77%, roughly thereabouts. Absolutely huge drop. I mean, there's no room for interpretation on that. It's taken a very long time. A lot of people that haven't sold are probably going to be on this ship, even if it keeps sinking down to levels like $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, right? I mean, obviously we're going to see different events of capitulation, but look, for the most part, if you made it this far, you're probably like me. You probably have a ridiculously high risk tolerance, and you're just okay with it. And you know, maybe you just kind of believe in the space. Dare I say? It sounds super cringe to say, but you know, here I am. I believe in it, so that's why I'm saying it. You know, and when you're in a situation like that, yeah, you're not really going to have any sellers. But the problem is that when that exit liquidity does come back in, let's go ahead and show you with right here. I've got the volume. When that exit liquidity does come back in, which actually started to happen over here, not even very much, but it did start to come in. You know, the price just isn't able to sustain. The buy orders just aren't able to sustain the price, and we see really, really big drops down, even on little spikes, right? Little spikes, like what happened right here. The price just absolutely catastrophically falls through, and the spike isn't even that high. I mean, if you look at the kind of volume that we were seeing previously, it's hard to see because it's so faint, but we're looking at this spike right here where my crosshair is. Just kind of compare it to the volume that we saw previously over here. It's not really even that high, but the price can't sustain it. The price drops from $57,000 to $42,000 within basically 2 days. I mean, really, really quick, sharp drops. We're not able to support people trying to exit the market because there just aren't very many buyers. So if we start to see something like that happen now, I think we could be looking at something similar with a really, really quick drop down. I think a lot of people are going to be in denial about it too, which makes this an even more interesting discussion because this, for a lot of reasons, has a good setup to not be a trap. It has a good setup to continue to rise up, given the fact that it's been so long, given the fact that we've had basically, like I said, 200 days of nothing going on. That's a really long time. Dare I say that's enough. That is enough, in my opinion. You know, mix in the fact that, yeah, it's been, 140 days here, further 60 days here where it's been absolutely horrible. We've had a big drop in the middle of it. It's pretty damn painful, ladies and gents. I actually get a little bit confused when I hear people talking about, Bitcoin needs another capitulation event. Like, are you fucking seeing what's happening here, ladies and gents? This is the most horrid trading range I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's the most painful, grueling trading range I've ever experienced in my life. I've been in these markets now for this is going to be my 6th year in a couple of months. 6 years in this market, ladies and gents, and I've never seen something like this. I know 6 years isn't a lot as a trader, right? You're only considered to be particularly experienced when you've crossed 10, 20 years. But at the same time, 6 years in crypto, that's, crypto moves fast. You see a lot in 6 years. And I mean, you could say that this isn't enough. And you know what? You might be right about that. But I haven't seen anything like this, and I certainly think that this is, potentially going to be setting Bitcoin up to be good enough. I like the fact that we're, breaking these highs as well. This is something I've been talking about on my YouTube channel. Is this something we would do if we're forming a bull trap? Absolutely yes. Again, this is one of those things where, like I said, you don't really know the full answer until the price action actually happens. But if we start getting above clear levels like $25,000, I think with each kind of high that we negate, with, like, for example, the FTX high here, this high right here that we just broke today, this 25K high right here, with each of these highs that we break, I think that Bitcoin is able to set itself up in a position where the likelihood of this being a bull trap is just lower and lower. It gets slimmer and slimmer. There comes a point where, take a look at this, right? This was quite a nice bull trap right here. This was a 47% rally that took 66 days. There comes a point where if you're able to break above key levels, right? So we didn't manage to get above 52K right here, which would have been a very important level. Call it 52, 51, doesn't really matter. We didn't quite manage to get above these levels. When you start to really break a lot of these resistance levels, that's when, you can definitely start saying that, what, it's going to be hard, pardon me, it's going to be hard for the bears to drive the market back down again. Again, there are really big exceptions, because what we had with this rally right here, was 3,000 up to 4,000, and we broke damn near every resistance level. You know, I mean, 11K in my opinion was going to be the strongest resistance level for Bitcoin, and we even broke that. 14K and 17K were the only two remaining resistance levels off memory. Those of you that were watching this YouTube channel back then, you're going to remember how we were covering this price action here. You know, and Bitcoin, yeah, it did everything we wanted to see, but it still just kind of fell flat, right? So, you know, there's obviously always going to be these elements of unpredictability. I think that there's also something to talk about with regards to the dollar, because the dollar has been in a particularly interesting position over this last little bit, potentially on the verge of collapsing lower. If this actually happens, I think the idea of Bitcoin being in a bull trap is not really going to hold very strong anymore if the dollar ends up dropping, because we've seen a lot of strength for Bitcoin while the dollar is just kind of going sideways. But we know that Bitcoin will generally flourish when the dollar drops. It's just a very clear inverse correlation. So if we start to see that happen, then yeah, I don't think we're going to be in a bull trap. But if we start to see a little bit of support here, which is exactly what you should be expecting if you're a traditional technical analyst. I mean, there's really nothing else that you can, you know, draw as a conclusion other than a support bounce off this level all the way back to the 1970s. This has been a critical level for the dollar. To say that we don't get some sort of bounce, you know what I mean? I've been covering this a little bit on this YouTube channel. You're stepping into naive territory, in my opinion, my friends. You know, if we especially, I mean, look at this. We're on the monthly time frame. It's just been 4 straight months of down. You know, and the dollar does generally move in very crazy ways, right? I mean, you know, obviously it's slow, but it's just kind of continuous with its action here. But at the same time, I mean, if this is really a long-term uptrend, which, you know, I mean, it has been since 2008, it's kind of been slowly on the up and up. You know, I mean, is this enough for a pullback? Hell yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And it puts Bitcoin in a very, very clear position to get destroyed if we find support off this level. I've been talking about this for a while, ladies and gents. So you're going to know a lot about this if you've been following this channel for a while as well. We look at this on the monthly time frame. We're starting to do some really good things here on the monthly time frame. When we manage to close this candle on the month, on the monthly without, you know, January without January candlestick, you know, if we close like at any level like this, I mean, this is a huge bullish engulfing candle. I want to, you know, put this in perspective for you. Within 1 month, we've erased 1, 2, 3, 4 months of price action so far. 4 months of price action so far with one bullish engulfing candle. If we manage to get a little bit higher, we're even going to eclipse the candle body of August, you know, which is going to turn this into a 5-month engulfing candle. Bullish engulfing candles are the real deal. They're extremely significant. They're very, very important to pay attention to. When we form bullish engulfing candles, take a look at this. What happened right here? Generally, big things happen to the market. There's, yeah, this is clear. This is very, very clear. So generally, when we form these kind of bits of price action, it can be extremely significant for the price action. Look at this. Look at this. Here's another example right here. Look at this bullish engulfing candle. I know it's a small one. It doesn't eclipse this price action by much with its candle body, but it still engulfs the previous candle. And look at the rally that we start off from here. Look at this bullish engulfing candle right here. Look, it's very, very clear. And the reason that this is so, this has such a high hit rate is because what we're doing within 1 month shows so much strength that we're able to basically push away all the negativity that we saw previously, which is exactly what happens with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's an extremely irrational, you know, asset. It moves based on fear and greed, you know, so beautifully. It's, you know, people always ask me, Sammy, why don't you trade other markets as often as you trade Bitcoin? Because I am interested in other markets. I just don't trade them very often. And the reason is because Bitcoin's good enough. You know, I mean, Bitcoin can be very predictable with its, you know, psychological cues. And I think this is an important thing to keep in mind. Is this something that we'd see in a bull trap? Sometimes, but it's really significant. It's really significant, and it generally is going to pave the way for really nice continued upward price action. At the very least, if we do start to pull back, it will at least mean that we are able to find some support. So these are the kind of things that I like to pay attention to in market situations like this. And I think a lot of this is going to depend on if we're able to cross key levels like 25, and if we get pullbacks anywhere in between or afterwards, where those pullbacks come down to. I want to see that we're able to find support above, you know, $19,000, for example. That would be absolutely critical. I'm not too concerned about losing 20K. I think that wouldn't be great, but you know, I do think that the real support is going to be at the bottom of this $19,000 range, which I have on this chart right here. Take a look at this green box right here, stretching between 18.5 up to 19.6. I think this is going to be the key level for Bitcoin if it's able to find really strong support. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for. Guys, I have to let you know, I've got a live stream that I'm going to be doing later on today. So make sure you tune in for that. At the time of me recording, that's going to be in like literally 3 hours. So it's not actually that long that you have to wait. I might make it at 9 p.m. Dubai time. So just tune into that. If that's something you're interested in. 9 p.m. Dubai time is, oh my God, my math. I think 5 p.m. London, 9 a.m. LA. So go ahead and just make sure you've got the bell icon checked as well if you want to make sure that you don't miss that. We're going to be covering all this price action plus a lot more, including altcoins. If you want to be able to trade with free cash and take that money home with you, if you manage to make profits with it, then go ahead and sign up to Bybit using my link in the description down below and head up here to the reward hub to get up to $30,000 in trading bonuses. Again, that's free cash, like demo money basically, that you can throw into the market. You can do whatever you like with it. And if you make money using that cash, you get to keep it, which is an incredibly strong offer. Prime XBT offering the same thing up to $7,000. Whatever you deposit, you get 7% back as a deposit bonus. And you can trade traditional markets like the S&P 500, gold, silver, oil, and Forex. Very, very cool indeed. And if you want to jump inside of my 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 VIP group, you want to see exactly how I'm trading these markets, how I'm going to be positioning myself in these markets in real time, all the trades I'm considering taking, and so on and so forth, then these are the steps on screen to join that as well. It's going to be this link in the description down below. Then click on my name at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 Gold, and then send me a message. It's a direct message, puts you directly in contact with me, and then I can send you all that information. Really hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do. If you have, hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'll see you all in tonight's live stream. Cheers.